Well, guys, I'm Steve. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. If it's your first time stopping by the channel, hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't regret it. If you're a returning subscriber, as always, guys, welcome back, and I do appreciate support. Guys, we got breaking news out of New Orleans, Louisiana. Shout out where tragedies struck around 3:15 in the morning, where some guy in a pickup truck drove through barriers on Bourbon Street and Canal Street, and hit the gas and ran over a whole bunch of people, killing 10 and injuring at least 30. And first they deemed this as an act of terror. Now they're kind of dialing it down, and they're saying that it was almost a lone wolf situation. A couple of weeks ago, I reported on someone doing the same thing in Germany, where they ran through a Christmas festival, mowing down tens of people and injuring them and killing a lot of them before this guy, who was supposed to be some type of nationalist, wind up getting arrested or taken into custody. But this guy right here, from what they've shown right now, and I'll show you a snippet of videos in order to get you guys caught up to it, because there'll be more updates by me later on today. They're saying the guy was by himself. They slipped up and said they found an IED or IEDs in his pickup truck. They're also saying that this guy is no longer alive. After he crashed his car, supposedly he exchanged gunfire with police, shooting 2 officers before, I guess, they shot him. Either way, this is a tragedy. People are partying. New Year's Day is a day, for people to have resolution, and trying to get better this upcoming year than they were the last year. All in all, man, take a look at what they got, man. Prayers and condolences go out to the families of the victims and the victims themselves, man. Take a look.
Police and authorities are giving a news conference. We want to go right to that briefing. Let's listen in.
First of all, we do know that the city of New Orleans was impacted by a terrorist attack. It's all still under investigation. You'll hear more after me. However, I have been in direct contact with the White House, with Governor Landry, and of course a unified command who is present here. What I'm asking at this time are prayers for those who have lost their lives in the city of New Orleans due to this tragedy. In addition to that, I'm asking the public to stay clear of 8 blocks around Bourbon Street. Stay clear from Bourbon Street, 8 blocks around. Very active, and again, a unified command is in place right now. I'm going to ask Chief Kirkpatrick to give you an update. You're then going to hear from our agent in charge relative to the FBI. So at this time, Chief Kirkpatrick.
Thank you. All right. Good morning, everyone. So I'm going to give you as much of the information I possibly can. We are going to give you an update a couple of times today. So we will give you just the basics this morning, all right? We had this event started at about 3:15. It did involve a man driving a pickup truck down Bourbon Street at a very fast pace, and it was very intentional behavior. This man was trying to run over as many people as he possibly could. It was not a DUI situation. This is a more complex and more serious based on the information we have right now. With respect to numbers, we have right now, and as you already know, this could change throughout the day. We do know that there are 26 injured people who are at UMC Hospital. We know we have 4 at Turo, 4 at Oshner Baptist, 1 at Tulane, but even as I was walking out the door, I believe I have an unconfirmed additional people who have been taken to other area hospitals, possibly on the east side. But we will give you as many correct numbers as we can as the day progresses. It is a very tragic situation for me to tell you that we know we have 10 people that this man killed on Bourbon Street. That is why we do not want anyone on Bourbon Street today. Wherever you see yellow tape, please do not violate this tape. This is in order to protect and stabilize the scene. We have information to a certain degree of the demographics of those who are in the hospital right now. We do not know at this point how many could be tourists versus locals, but from the information I have right now, it seems the majority are locals versus tourists. What I also can tell you is that this man, this perpetrator, he fired on our officers from his vehicle when he crashed his vehicle. 2 of our officers have been shot. They are stable, and we will give you an update on them. I have yet been able to go to the hospital. I will be leaving here for us to go visit our officers. We have called in every officer that we have. We have so much appreciated our partnerships who have also offered us staff. Last night, we had over 300 officers out here. And because of the intentional mindset of this perpetrator who went around our barricades in order to conduct this, he was hell-bent on creating the carnage and the damage that he did. Because of the nature and the indices that we have on the scene, and we have enough information that the FBI will be taking over this investigation. And with that, I am going to be asking, this is the assistant agent in charge. This is Agent Duncan, Special Agent Duncan, and she has taken over this case on behalf of us and the FBI. As always, we will be in partnership with all of our partners. But Agent Duncan, if you want to have a few words for me.
Thank you, ma'am. Good morning. My name is Alethea Duncan. I'm the Assistant Special Agent in charge for FBI New Orleans. As Chief Kirkpatrick said, we'll be taking over the investigative lead for this event. This is not a terrorist event. What it is right now is their improvised explosive devices that was found, and we are working on confirming if this is a viable device or not. As Chief Kirkpatrick said, we're asking everyone to stay away from Bourbon Street, specifically from Canal Street to St. Anne. That is my ask. Once again, stay away from Bourbon Street, Canal Street, all the way to St. Anne until we can figure out what is going on. Our goal is to provide you additional information at the 11 a.m. press conference. Thank you so much, and we will be in touch.
Yes, I will say that we want our community and our visitors to continue enjoying. There's so much to enjoy about New Orleans, and we are going to make sure that our routes in the Superdome are safe today for the game. And yet we had this tragic event, and we're sorry again to everyone in our community. But we do want you to go about the day, as we say, just stay away from Bourbon. Okay?
Can she elaborate on the device? She did say something about the device.
We actually are not going to be taking questions this morning until we have more information. That's why we will give you an 11 o'clock briefing. So until then, please hold your questions. We will give you everything that we possibly can, okay? So 11 o'clock, we will see you at the headquarters, and we will go again from there, okay? No questions, no questions right now.
Right? The device is confirmed?
We are hearing from a witness who, heard and saw all of this unfold. Let's take a listen to what they had to say.
Around 3:15, we heard a pop, 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 pop sound, followed by a sound that sounded like fireworks going off, like a big firework all at once. And it turned out that was the crash. So that pulled us out of bed, peeked through the curtains to see, what was going on. And at that point, we saw cops all over the place, stacking up, rifles trained on the car. So, peeking through the windows, we kind of backed away to make sure that the situation was okay. Saw the cops telling people in the other buildings, like, stay inside, stay inside.
Yeah, that witness there describing what he thought initially were fireworks, only to find out, as we just heard from Aaron, that there were gunshots. I do have another witness on the phone. Jimmy, are you with us? Can you briefly just describe what you heard, what you saw? Take us through everything that you witnessed on Bourbon Street there.
So Bourbon Street, like he said, probably about 3:10 a.m. We were heading towards Canal, which is the way the truck was coming towards us. We ducked off into a nightclub because we weren't sure what was going on at the other end, and it looked like just nothing we wanted to see. So we just ducked off into a club. By the time we got in, 5 girls had ran in frantically and hid under chairs. So us knowing where we were, we ran upstairs to the balcony to make it less available if something was following inside. And what we witnessed was body after body mangled, just as far as you could see. We counted 10, and at least 6 were instantly, clearly deceased. And they were trying to get everybody just to stay inside, but everyone had just completely disappeared. Like, after these people ran over, I think we were the only ones outside on the balcony, and we took video just for the sheer shock. Like, you don't see stuff like that on city streets. Yeah. And just no one was helping them. Like, that was kind of the first crazy thought we had, is why is no one helping them? They wouldn't let us out. And obviously, like I told you, some were very clearly deceased, but others were yelling out. And it's a lot to process.
Yeah, and I can hear that shock in your voice. Obviously, this had to be horrific to witness. I mean, I imagine that you were there celebrating, with your friends, your loved ones, ringing in the new year, and then to see and to watch all of this unfold. What was going through your mind, Jimmy?
Shock. Like, it looked like something out of a movie, the way these bodies were mangled. And we had just seen this one girl outside dancing when we were walking up, and not to be too graphic, but she was flattened. Like, this was a full-size F-150 4x4, and this girl didn't even look human. And then another one had to be a mother. She was dead in front of us, right at my feet, just twisted, skull. I mean, I could just keep going. Another gentleman, he was for sure deceased. He actually had tire tracks over his stomach and back when they were trying to finally check on him. And another woman had got her legs pinned when he run her over. Half her body was on the street, half her body was on the curb. So she obviously was very broken, but still breathing at that moment.
Now we want to go to CBS News reporter Nicole Skanga on the phone to find out. Nicole, what are your sources saying about this attack?
Yeah, Michael, 2 law enforcement sources telling CBS News the driver of this vehicle is dead. Law enforcement, FBI, and police now searching that vehicle, scouring for evidence, looking for additional weapons. The mission here really is to determine a motive. And, we heard the same word from police and FBI. That word is intentional. They called this incident complex, serious. No indication as of yet that this was terrorism, that there were any political, religious ideological goals, but it's still very early in this investigation, and no doubt this perpetrator intended to commit a mass casualty attack. The suspect here fired on officers. We heard law enforcement say that. It appears that fire was returned. 2 law enforcement officers at least injured, no casualties there at this time that we're aware of, but of course a mass casualty event. And this will complicate the FBI's investigation as they seek to determine why this suspect did what they did.
Nicole, do we know at this point if this was a lone attack, or is there a continued search for the possibility of additional suspects?
There is a continued search for the possibility of either additional suspects or those who might have aided or abetted this individual. That is more standard than anything. I mean, what law enforcement is doing now is a forensic and digital analysis of this individual once they positively identify the suspect here, the driver here. So, at this point, we have not heard law enforcement rule out the possibility of others. However, I will say, this has all the makings, in speaking with law enforcement, of a lone wolf attack, which, as Sam Vinograd mentioned on the phone earlier, is something that is constantly top of mind of all federal law enforcement officials, particularly when it comes to this kind of incident, this vehicle ramming incident, because it leaves investigators with less dots to connect. So at this point, we don't know of anyone else, connected to this horrific incident. Has the makings of a lone wolf attack based on conversations I've had. But again, law enforcement certainly not ready to rule out the possibility of others who might have been involved or frankly might have known, that this driver, this suspect had intended to carry out something so horrific.
All right, Nicole Skanga, thank you. Now let's go back to Katie Weiss. She has been on the scene since the early morning hours. Katie, you've been talking with witnesses. You have been talking with people who were there in those early morning hours. What can you tell us about what they're saying?
Well, good morning. It's been a long morning for a lot of people here in this city that is unlike any other in the United States. It's a special place. It's a place where people come to have a good time. They let the good times roll here in New Orleans in the Big Easy, but far from an easy morning for so many people. We have more than 30 people now in the hospital, and it was just a chaotic scene. I was there just minutes after it happened. I saw people strewn across the street on the ground, getting help from first responders. There were a lot of people who looked to be in very critical condition, if alive at all. It was a very graphic, scary thing to witness, but a lot of people now searching for answers and wanting to know why something so horrific could happen on a night when so many people are having a joyous occasion, ringing in the new year.
I want to talk about that because this happened at 3 a.m. on Bourbon Street. For people who know Bourbon Street, there's a celebratory atmosphere on a normal day. We're talking about New Year's morning. If you can set the scene a little bit and talk about the mood. This is New Year's. There is a sense of optimism, a sense of new beginnings for so many people. And for this to happen here, of all places, if you can talk about the mood as you talk to witnesses there.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, in a place like New Orleans, this is a time, 3 a.m. is a time when things are at their peak, really, for people to be out having a good time. People joke that, the party doesn't get started till after midnight in this town. And so there were a lot of people that were out and about on Bourbon Street having a good time at that hour. This is right near where the French Quarter ends. So I spoke with witnesses who told me that they saw this truck plow through this crowd on Bourbon, which is a pedestrian-only street. It is closed to through traffic. There are no cars going down Bourbon at that time. So they saw this truck coming and just hitting people. One woman told me her husband's ankle got clipped, but fortunately he was able to get out of the way. And then witnesses told me that they just heard gunshots all of a sudden. It was chaos and something really startling and scary that many people were not expecting at all at a time when they were having a great time.
Horrifying to hear these stories from the people on the ground there. Katie, thank you. We're going to check back in with you shortly. But earlier this morning, we spoke with a witness who saw the carnage unfold and jumped in to help. Take a listen.
I'm an Iraq war veteran, and so have seen combat, and I think that's kind of immediately my instinct was to try to provide first aid as quickly as we could. I was hoping to, the thing that I know is to stop bleeding, as quickly as possible. Applying pressure or a tourniquet, or anything that can help stop bleeding as quickly as possible. And that was really the only thing going through my mind. And again, when we checked on people, they just were very clearly deceased, and there's nothing we could do.